Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, episode 16 of Day of the Dragon by Richard A. Knack. Let's go!
Lift him up. His hand. That one.
Still dazed, Ronin could feel someone take a hold of his hand, and then grasp his little finger.
Human, you've one chance for life. Where's the rest of your party? I'm alone. You take me for a fool? How many fingers left,
Ronin tried to think as quickly as the pain would allow him. He told his captor the truth, but that had not satisfied them. So what did they want to hear?
Please. The others. I'm not certain where they are. Don't think so. You came for her, didn't you? I know it. My spies heard. You heard, didn't you, Krill?
Oh yes, Master Necros. I heard it all.
Ronin's vision and concentration was still a bit hazy, but he could tell that other voice belonged to a goblin.
I say it again, human. You came for the dragon. Isn't that so? I got Another finger will be next. You came to free the dragon before your armies reached Grimbatol. You figured the chaos would work for you, didn't you?
Once again, Ronin figured the best option was to tell this orc what he wanted to hear.
Yes, we did.
Necros then leaned back in triumph. Bloody brilliant at interrogation he was. But as he leaned back, Ronin got his first glance at the orc's maimed leg.
You see, great Necros, Grimbatol is no longer safe, my glorious commander. Who knows how many more enemies still lurk in its tunnels? Who knows how long before the Alliance marches upon you, with the Dark One leading the way? We can't possibly defend this mountain with so few. Best if the enemy did not find us here at all, rather than waste such precious...
Tell me something I don't know, little wretch.
Necros then turned his attention back to the wizard.
You and your comrades came too late, human. I thought ahead of all of you. You can have Grimbatol, for all the good it's worth. May the whole thing fall down on you.
Necros, you must stop this insanity.
That new voice caught everyone by surprise, including Ronin. He'd only heard it once before.
You've no permission to speak, reptile.
The orc then reached into his pocket and clutched something, whilst the wizard observed curiously. Ronin could feel his own skin tingle as a magical force of astonishing proportions awoke. And the Dragon Queen herself then cried out in immense pain. But despite the pain, Alexstrasza persisted.
You waste both energy and time, Necros. You fight for what is already lost.
Alexstrasza then groaned and closed her eyes, and her breathing grew shallow.
Only Zulu Head commands me, lizard. And he's far from here.
And then he turned back to Ronin.
It's dragons you will want. It's dragons you'll get. You and the Dark One.
And again, Necros patted his pocket.
We're ready for him.
At this point, Ronin really wanted to know what the hell was in that pocket. What power could it possibly have that made Necros believe it would work against the armoured behemoth?
Take him away. What? Kill him? No. I'll have more questions for him later. Just, you know where to put him.
Necros then buggered off, revealing the goblin that had been standing behind him, and as Ronin stared at him, the goblin winked, as if both of them shared a secret. The little green bastard then slid his hand back, just long enough for Ronin to see he was carrying something, and that something was Deathwing's medallion. Meanwhile,
are we almost near? Soon. Very soon.
Unfortunately, Rom had been saying that for quite a while at this point. A bit more detail would have been nice, but sure enough, after a bit more walking and talking, there it is. Verisa squinted, but even with her exceptional elven vision, she couldn't see any sort of opening at all.
It's awfully small. Be a tight fit. Aye, too tight for orcs. And they think too tight for us. But there's a trick to it. A trick, you say?
Rom then explained his little trick. The hill dwarves had placed a bunch of rocks, and the trick was to move them, apparently.
That's not exactly the most elaborate trick. Aye, but with the dragons the orcs fear little from us. Well, I suppose we'd better get started. Lady Verisa, you must wait till dark. Any sooner and you'll be sighted. We can't wait that long. 'Tis an hour, Lady Verisa. Surely that's worth your life.
The ranger turned to Falstad with a confused look on her face.
You're out for a long time, my elven lady.
That news panicked the ranger somewhat, but there was little point getting worked up about it now. So she sighed and agreed to wait until nightfall before continuing. A short while later, the dwarves had set up a little camp and handed out food and stuff, and after finishing his portion, Rom wandered off. He claimed he wished to inspect some of the nearby tunnels for troll activity, but Verisa couldn't help shake the feeling that there was something else on his mind, something he wasn't saying. So she went ahead and followed him, and soon enough, she stealthily approached the bugger who seemed to be having a secret conversation with nobody in particular.
Couldn't be helped, Great One. Didn't think you wanted them to know about you.
There was a brief pause before Rom continued.
Aye, an elf ranger, fair of face and form, that's her.
Another pause.
A wild one, from the Eyrie. Said his mount escaped when the trolls took him.
Verisa could neither see nor hear anyone else speaking. Was Rom talking to himself? She tried to edge a bit closer, but as she did...
What? Where?
And out of nowhere, the dwarf then turned and looked directly at her. Balls.
Here I was thinking I'd gone far enough away to avoid them sharp elven ears. Why'd you have to come here, Lady Verisa?
My intent was innocent, Rom. Your intent, however, leaves many questions.
This business is none of your concern, eh?
A medallion in Rom's hand then fled, startling them both, and Rom's head then tilted to one side, as if again listening to some unheard speaker.
Are you sure? Aye, if you say so.
Verisa tensed.
Who are you speaking to?
But Rom just held out his medallion and motioned for her to take it. So she reluctantly did.
My greetings to you, Verisa Windrunner.
Verisa very nearly soiled herself. The voice echoed inside her skull. What witchcraft was this? But the dwarf simply nodded his head at her, encouraging her to say something back to the disembodied voice. So she cleared her mind and thought the words, "Who are you?" However, nothing happened. No response.
What are you doing?
I replied to him. In my mind.
No, Lady Verisa. You have to speak out loud.
Oh, Who are you?
You know me through my missives to your superiors. I'm Krasis, of the Kirin Tor.
I know your name.
You're also Ronin's patron.
There was a slight uneasy pause.
I am responsible for his journey, yes.
You know that he may be prisoner of the orcs?
I do. It was not intended.
Not intended?
His mission was to observe. Nothing more.
The elf had stopped believing that bullshit a long time ago. Observe from where? The dungeons of Grimbatol? Or was he to meet with these hill dwarfs for some reason you have not stated? Again, an uneasy pause.
The situation is far more complex than that, young one, and growing more so by the moment. Your presence, for instance, was not part of the plan. You should have turned around at the seaport.
I swore an oath. I felt that it extended beyond the shores of Lordaeron.
Ronin is fortunate, if he still lives.
For a third time, Krasis hesitated. The hell was his problem?
Yes. It is up to us to see what can be done to free him.
That took Verisa by surprise. She'd not expected that.
Hear me out, Verisa Windrunner. I've made some lapses in judgment. The fate of Ronin is one of those lapses. You intend to try and find him, do you not?
I do.
Even in the mountain fortress of the orcs? And the dragons?
Yes.
Then Ronin is fortunate to have you as a friend, and I hope to be as fortunate now. I will do what I can to aid you in this formidable quest. The physical danger will be yours, though, of course.
Of course.
Please return the talisman to Rom for the moment. I would speak with him.
So Verisa handed the medallion back to the dwarf, who took it and proceeded to nod at whatever Krasis was saying. Seemed quite clear that Rom wasn't entirely overjoyed by whatever Krasis was saying, though.
If you really think it's necessary.
And Rom handed the medallion back to Verisa again.
He wants you to have this for your journey.
I don't want.
Do you wish to find Ronin? To save him?
Yes, but
I am your only hope.
The elf would have argued, but she had to admit 'twas only her and Faustad entering those tunnels. A bit of extra aid could come in handy.
What do we do? Place the talisman around your neck, then return with Rom to the others. I'll guide you and your dwarven companion into the mountain, and to the most likely place where you might find Ronin.
So, both she and Rom went ahead and followed those orders, and returned to camp. But before entering it, Krasis provided Verisa a few more instructions.
Make no mention of what this medallion does. Don't speak around others unless I give permission. Only Rom and Gimel presently know my role.
And what is your role exactly?
Trying to preserve the future for all of us. Verisa,
I may ask you to do things that seem not in your best interest, but trust that they are. There are dangers ahead that you do not understand. Dangers that you alone cannot face. Now, I must attend to a matter of import. Do not depart until I give you the word. Farewell.